Hey there, let's talk about getting results. And to do that, I'm going to share a story that's found in this pamphlet book by Price Pritchett, written many years ago, called You². And it's all about moving quickly and swiftly. And it's a pretty cool story. And so I'm going to read it to you because it had an impact in my world as I began as a management consultant many years ago. So if it's okay with you, I'm just going to read the story. Here we go.
You already know. My passion and my mission to help you unleash your greatness within. My heart goes out to the underdogs that's on their way. If you think you can go from good to great, okay, let's motivate. Greatnesswithin.com. TJ Hoisington. Greatnesswithin.com. Oh, if you dreaming it.
He says, I'm sitting in a quiet room at the Millcroft Inn, a peaceful little place hidden back among the pine trees about an hour out of Toronto. It's just past noon, late July, and I'm listening to the desperate sounds of a life or death struggle going on a few feet away. There's a small fly burning out the last of its short life's energies in a futile attempt to fly through the glass of the window pane. The whining wings tell a poignant story of the fly's strategy of trying harder. But it isn't working. The frenzied effort offers no hope for survival. Ironically, the struggle is part of the trap. It is impossible for the fly to try hard enough to succeed at breaking through the glass. Nevertheless, this little insect has staked its life on reaching its goal through raw effort and determination. This fly is doomed. It will die there on the windowsill. Across the room, 10 steps away, the door is open. 10 seconds of flying time, and this small creature could reach the outside world that it seeks. With only a fraction of the effort now being wasted, it would be free from its self-imposed trap. The breakthrough possibility is there. It would be so easy. How did it get so locked on the idea that this particular route and determined effort would offer the most promise for success? What logic is there in continuing until death to seek a breakthrough? More of the same. No doubt this approach makes sense to the fly. Regrettably, it's an idea that will kill. Quote, trying harder, unquote, isn't necessarily the solution to achieving more. It may not offer any real promise for giving you what you want out of life. Sometimes, in fact, it's a big part of the problem. If you stake your hopes for a breakthrough on trying harder than ever, you may kill your chances of success, unquote, by Price Pritchett. I love that. I mean, think about that. Sometimes we try the same thing harder and harder and harder, the same way, harder and harder and harder, only to end up getting nowhere, right? If you keep doing what you've always done, you'll keep getting what you've always got. I love that story. He talks about in the book that we have this belief that success is a step-by-step process. Well, not necessarily. Sometimes there's a breakthrough. And he talks about that. Let me just point out a couple other distinctions that I made note of here, and maybe it'll be useful for you. So let me skip ahead. You² requires an abrupt change in your behavior. You must do something new. And then he says, act as if your success is certain. Wow, what a success principle. Act as if your success is certain. Your mindset, for the moment, may be flawed by doubt and skepticism. But then he said, and I've said it in many speeches over the years, if you're going to doubt anything, doubt your limits. Breakthrough thought. He says here, just act like you have complete faith. He says, if you're going to doubt, there it is. If you're going to doubt something, doubt your limits. And then he says this, I love this too. Absence of evidence. Let me say that. Absence of evidence is not evidence of their absence. Is that good? Absence of evidence is not evidence of their absence. Let me just share this with you. Anything you want in life, you will find the resources to make that a reality. Not only that, you'll find the evidence to make that true. Anything you ultimately want, your creative subconscious mind will find a way to make that true. The same is true if you believe in something negative or a doubt that you have. You'll find the evidence to prove why you can't do it. There's evidence to go around. I'm telling you, believe in the possibility. That's my whole mission. Unleash your greatness within is about believing in possibilities even when you can't see the evidence. Sometimes the evidence is the belief itself. It's the belief that I'm going to get a result out of this. And then opportunities show up. All of a sudden, resources show up out of nowhere. It's unbelievable. He says, getting back to Price Pritchett, he says, quantum leaps are merely the process of using your world differently. There are, he says, unforeseen forces, phantom powers that cannot be fully explained, and I believe in that. You might be hit with a flash of inspiration during a moment of solitude. A creative solution to a problem may come out of a dream. A breakthrough idea can flash through your mind while you're visualizing a goal. But you know what? You got to slow down enough to think about it. He says, paint a vivid picture in your mind for these forces to know precisely what you want. You don't have to understand it totally in order to use it, he says, no more than you have to comprehend the intricate physics of electrical energy to flip the switch. Wow. Going for the quantum leap feels chancy. Yes, it does. You have to trust the unknown. This is vital. Don't kid yourself with the idea that playing it safe by living with the status quo will give you your best odds. It's not going to give you your best odds. You got to do something bold, right? You got to have a plan and be strategic about it. But at some point, you're going to have to make some bold decisions along the way. I'll share one with you here in closing. You must move beyond the zone of familiarity, security, and comfort. And then he says, frankly, making a quantum leap is not mere gambling. It's not a crapshoot. You simply move on an opportunity that you've been ignoring. You abandon your excuses. You reframe the problem. You take a completely different chance. A quantum leap is risking in a way that unmasks the truth, revealing how the only thing of significance that has been standing in the way is you. I wrote in the book with Bob Mowad, behind me the book, The Secret of the Slight Edge. The subtitle is How to Get Out of Your Own Way. Yeah, you got to get out of your own way. Let's see if there's another one here. Oh, this is good too. Wishing, longing, wanting, desiring. These are not the same as pursuing a dream. These are mental states and play an important role in the process of you becoming You², but they are essentially passive. Pursuit is what makes the difference. Love it. The quantum leap requires you to take the offensive. You must realize that if you're experiencing no difficulties, no problems, or pain, you probably have aimed too low. I love Bob Mowad would always say, most people don't aim too high and miss, they aim too low and hit. So let your deepest desires direct your aim. Set your sights far above a reasonable target. The power of purpose is profound only if you have the desire that stirs in the heart. That's amazing. That's amazing. Let me tell you what happens when you get clear about what it is that you want. Amazing doors will open up to you. A simple little story about Ken Blanchard. I was on a flight to a speaking engagement and I was reading Success magazine, and there was an article in that magazine about Ken Blanchard. And as I was reading, I thought, this guy thinks like me, or I think like him. Ken Blanchard has got an amazing article here. I feel like while I was on that flight, I was feeling like I was resonating with him, that I wrote on that, and I'll actually show an image here. I wrote in that magazine something like, call him, he'll endorse my book, or something like that. I'm telling you, I landed, I got in my car, I Google searched his company, got the 1-800 number. I happened to talk to his personal assistant. I said, my name is TJ Hoisington, and you know what? I just got off a plane. I was reading this article by Ken Blanchard. I would love to have Ken Blanchard on my Unleash Your Greatness Within podcast. Long story short, about a week later, I get in the mail about 10 Ken Blanchard books, all signed by Ken. And then I sent him my books signed. I said, thank you very much. And then his assistant emailed me with a time that we could do the call on the podcast. And we did the call, and that was one of my first podcasts ever. And it was amazing to visit with Ken Blanchard. He's taught me a lot over the years. And it's just a matter of getting clear about what it is you want and making those bold choices to follow your thoughts, your gut feelings, your intuition, to act on something. And then boom, all of a sudden you act on it, and boy, you see the fruits of your labors. All of a sudden opportunities and resources start showing up in front of you and doors open for you. I'm telling you what, you've got to be able to act on it, which means you've got to believe bigger than you're believing now. You've got to think unreasonably. This is vital. For you to get to that next level, you can't just inch your way up to the next level. Quantum Leap is about doing bold things. And that's my encouragement for you. Unleashing your greatness within is a big, bold move. It's believing that you have potential. It's believing that you have capacities. It's believing that you have gifts and talents that the world is waiting to see, that the world is waiting to learn from, to experience, because you have the courage to do something different, because you have the courage to reach out. Now, with that in mind, make sure your actions are kept within integrity, in natural law. Make sure you don't trade the more important things of life for success. Keep it balanced. But I'm telling you, believe bigger, reach higher, reach for the stars. If you do, you'll land on the moon. If you just aim for the moon, you'll never get out of orbit, as someone once said. All right? So believe in yourself and think big. All right? Go out there and unleash your greatness within.